Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and I'm working on this eagle, and it's a little bit harder than I suspected. I started cleaning up these lines, and there's a bunch of ways you could do that, but I started thinking, let's just take the virtual segment delete key and just delete these interior lines, make sure you don't delete anything on the outside, because you could redraw these lines quicker than you could ever clean it up. And if you want it to look more like the original deal, you could take the time to clean up these lines, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think it's going to look good, and then just delete all this garbage in here. It's one thing nice about the virtual segment delete key. You can kind of use a lasso tool, maybe one or two more, because you can clean these lines up. And I started cleaning up around his head. I thought I'd better not wait for the video and stuff like this. You need to clean up because that ribbon is going into his head. That doesn't need to be there. And what's so nice about Corel, if you mess something up, you can always go back. I filled the letters in with black. Then you just take your 2-point line, and I would go ahead and, with nothing selected, I'd draw in red or hairline, so we're going to draw in black now. And we'll make it a point, scale with the object, so in case we make it bigger or smaller. And we're going to go to black. And let's see if that's not right thickness. It's a little bit too thick, so let's back it up. Well, with nothing selected, back this up, graphic, let's make it a 0.75 of a line, still scale with object. Let's delete that line. A lot of times when you have trouble grabbing something, you can grab it with the shape tool sometimes quicker. I should be able to grab that one line, but the outside's interfering, so I'm going to lock it. And then I can grab that inside line. I must have locked it too. You know what I did? When I drew it, I made it part of the curve, so I'm going to, well, it's not that either. Well, let's just start doing it. And so you might want to test your line width first, and then just draw in some lines. I would think you'd want them a little bit thinner than this. And you could maybe fill this in with gray before you started doing this or after. And if you like what you did, you could always transfer those lines to the other side. Let's see if we can't grab this. So grabbing the pick tool, the lasso pick tool, or freehand pick tool, there's our problem right there. So let's do this. Let's grab that and nudge it out of the way, our 3 inches. We've got some excess lines that might or might not come into play that we don't need. So let's just delete them, because we've got our outline of the wing. We don't need this. And it'll help us. Now looking at it, the hardest part is going to be the vine and the fruit. So put that back, and it looks pretty good. So now let's try to do this. See if this will work. Lasso freehand tool, holding down the Alt key so anything it touches will be selected. Make it Control G, Control D, and then let's flip it. And then we should be able to use the control button to move this over. So you don't have to draw that line but once. We're a little bit off on some of them, but we need to delete these other lines anyway, because we've got the outline of the wing. And we can always move them later. Now let's see what happens when we bring this back. That's what's so lovely about the nudge tool. That doesn't look half bad. So we're finished the top part. This is what I'm talking about. This is going to take some time. These are made up of shadows. So get your virtual segment delete key and delete these lines that are inside this line, inside this striped bar. And if you could find a seal with an eagle already on it holding that, which I think I have somewhere. Sorry for my yawn, I'm a little tired. But wanted to get this done. And then just delete these lines. And that looks pretty good. Now with the lines in his leg, you can kind of swipe through, because anything the virtual segment delete key hits, it's going to delete. So it's not that hard. Probably the hardest thing on this drawing is going to be this stuff. But I might leave that for another video for another day. And that's how I would do it. That looks pretty good. And you could, shade in the wings with a little gray. It should fill in the whole area, which it did because we've got some leaks. But anyway, you could leave that just lines and it would engrave. And then after you finished it, you can nudge it over. And that, I'm glad I did that. That's going to be a little bit of a problem because our words are going up into this black. So let's nudge. Tell you what, we need to go back up and over. We need to grab that and go over. And then when we put in our item, that should stop it from leaking. So let's double click on that and go, whoop. Let's nudge it. Yes, that's what we wanted. We didn't want the color. Now we'll get the star, but it came with the color, so well, we don't need the color. We've got the star. And let's try this. Let's see if this works. You see now our lines are outside the color, so if we smart fill it in with black now, it should stay out of that area, and it did. So that worked quite well. But I would take it and fill these areas in with gray. Kind of remember which gray you used. I think we used this one. That looks pretty good. And take the virtual segment delete key and delete that line. But that took away our color. But I think we can smart fill it again. But we got a little bit of a leak on our one wing. So you need to find that leak. You could fill these in with gray because they're going to engrave a little bit different and give them a little bit of something to do. Anyway, so the hardest part now is going to be this, and I'm going to leave this for another day. We could fix that leak, but that'll look really good. I think that'll work. Bring our yellow box trick. So everything that's yellow is transparent. So these are just going to be lines of the eagle in the real wood. Anyway, I hope that helped them a little bit. Thank you for watching.